2022. I'm Freya Pierce, and I'm here with the wonderful Amy Wolsey. How are you doing?
I'm very well today, thank you. Very excited to be here with everybody. The buzz is amazing. Everyone is raring to go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit surreal for me being here, honestly, because it's been a long time since I've been at a real life Pokemon event. I wasn't able to make it to the EUIC and a few others. Just like being back here, being here casting, and just being at a big event like this again is honestly really, really cool. I feel so stoked to be here, and I'm so excited to see what ends up taking the whole thing and just seeing all these exciting matches coming up.
Absolutely, and of course it's my first ever
IRL
event.
Yes,
yeah, because unfortunately I came down with COVID for Bilbao.
Honestly, when I heard about that, I was so gutted for you. But we're so glad that we can get you here for your first live stream, and for my return as well, I guess. So it's really
going to be a really exciting day. I can tell already.
Yeah, 1000%. So I'm not going to lie. I mean, okay, they're the faces I'm sure you recognize many times before. We have an absolutely stacked round one here for you. We have Robin Schulz against Stéphane Ivanoff.
What a world we live in, where this is round one. Some of our top players today.
We promise it's not rigged. We think.
If anyone could have made this happen.
Yeah, it is true. But obviously, as soon as we saw these guys were playing against each other round one, it was a very obvious first round pick. And it's going to be a very interesting matchup as well. So as you can see, both of them will be piloting a variant of Arceus, but both quite different variants, as you can see. So we'll have like Robin playing Arceus Cinccino, which is kind of like a new variant of the deck that's seen some play here and there, but not at this higher level yet. Whereas Stéphane is going for a little bit more of like a straightforward, well-known Arceus Inteleon.
Absolutely. It's really interesting to see that Jolteon against the Drizzile engine. So we'll see whether that pays off today, and hopefully will be a really interesting game.
Yeah. And we are off straight away, so we're no way to hear our kickoff round one of the Bremen Regional Championships. Stéphane looks like he will be going first to put down Cinccino. Oh, just a pass after that. Oh, okay. No Arceus down. That's a bit of a rough start.
Definitely takes the lead with the Arceus play at very least.
Yeah, so with now Philip Schulz going to start. I think has a water energy to attach to. Wait, shouldn't it be Robin, not Philip? I think that might be a bit of a mistake. They might just get that corrected quickly. Yeah, I'm fairly sure that should be Robin there, not Philip. They're both brothers. It's an easy mistake to make. In any case, yeah, so one water energy going onto the Sobble, and will be starting off with a keep calling. So that's a really, really great start for Philip. Able to, of course, use that to get out 3 more Rapid Strike Pokemon onto the bench, and also just have a quick look through the deck to see what's available.
The really interesting thing about this as well is that obviously we've already got then a very strong setup Sobble bench. So even though Stéphane's going to be attempting to turn that engine off, will they get there in time?
Yeah, that is a good question. So, I mean, the EV is already down, so that does help already. He just needs to find that Jolteon and the memory capsule. But the fact that he wasn't able to get an Arceus V down turn 1 really doesn't bode well, because, of course, it's very important to get that down turn 1. So on the turn 2, you can put down the Arceus V-Star and, of course, fire off that Starburst ability to search any 2 cards from the deck and really just set up your plays.
Absolutely. It gives Robin the advantage in regards to taking the first prize cards as well. So even though Stéphane doesn't have any 2 prizes out yet, it certainly could be an interesting prize journey for Robin here.
Yes, it very much could. But Robin now done with the deck search, able to get out 3 more Sobbles. So it's got the full 4 Sob squad going down. Gonna shuffle up the deck, and now we are back to Stéphane. Let's see if he can mount something here. He's already got the Arceus V-Star in hand, I noticed, but of course not much use to him right now. He looks like. Okay, looking at his hand now, I can kind of see where the struggle lies a little bit. He's really not got much to work with, it looks like.
Not at all, no. Energy evolutions, but not the right ones.
No, absolutely not. And because if you had just like a Cinccino or some kind, maybe just put that down, draw some cards. But no, is that just going to be a water engine? I can't even remember what Eevee's attack does. Is it just get some basics out of the deck? Yeah, it looks like it.
Well, at least that's a usable ability, much like our friend Sobble. At least it's helping them set up. So it's lovely when you have those basics that get trapped inactive at the beginning, unlike something like Zigzagoon, which doesn't really do much. So if it gets stuck in the active, the poor thing is certainly not going to be helping you out, whereas Eevee and Sobble have great usable attacks.
Yes, it's very, very true. So the Eevee, I just going to try to get a hold of what the attack name actually is, because I remember it's obviously it searches Pokemon from the deck, but it's not one that's I've actually not talking about familiar myself with like, the name of course, Jolteon. Well, there's the V search. There you go. So you get to search your deck for up to 3 Pokemon V, reveal and put them into your hand. So yeah, that is. Although it is a bit of like a bailout attack for Stéphane, at least now he's like, able to, sort of get there's some Arceus V's out of the deck and starts to get the next turn. But he's already so far behind in tempo because it's been 2 turns now, and he's still left with this board of basically nothing.
It's a shame because now those Sobbles are ready to kick off, and we can see the Drizziles lurking in Robin's hand, and here he goes.
Yes. Here we are kicking off with this Shady Dealings engine that, of course, has been like so paramount to so many competitive decks in the format recently, both Arceus and otherwise. Just it's the ability to just evolve from the Sobble to the Drizzile, just search a deck for any one trainer is so strong.
So powerful, and we're seeing 2 strong engines that have been around for a while now because they're both base sword shield set draw mechanics.
Yes, very much so.
So we're looking at the Cinccino, which lets you essentially trade 1 card for 2, and then the Drizzile, where you can search your deck for any trainer card. Both really strong engines, but it looks like Robin's got the advantage with kicking off with that engine first.
Yes, absolutely, and we do see there, so off of the Shady Dealings, Robin was able to get the Melanie, uses that to, of course, attach a water energy from the discard pile to the Arceus V, draw 3 cards, and I don't know if I see an Arceus V-Star in the hand. If he does have that, then of course he is like absolutely going to take a commanding lead in this game because he's got the double turbo energy as well. But, oh, is that a scoop up net?
That is, absolutely. So that Drizzile could come back into the hand immediately and be played once again.
Yes, and of course that will get him absolutely to where he needs to be because he can just pick up that Drizzile and then use it to evolve another one of the Sobbles and then use the Shady Dealings again to just get a Evolution Incense from the deck and get the Arceus V-Star.
Scoop Up Net is beautiful combination combined with any Pokemon that has an on-evolution ability. Unlike Cinccino, which can just keep going once per turn, can use that ability, we do rely on the Drizzile's ability to be used on play.
Yes, and it looks like we're doing a little spin around here. Oh, okay, I see what the mix-up is now. Yeah, there was, I think we were sort of the wrong way around for a little bit. I was a little bit confused because I didn't think I saw... I thought the sort of decks would mix up a little bit, but yeah, apologies for the confusion here. So it's actually Stéphane is on the left on the table, but on the right on your player cam, just to clear that up. So it's actually Stéphane that's in the commanding lead right now, and Robin that's kind of really struggling. And
that does make more sense with the Jolteon in the prize cards.
Yes, it does a bit.
I was a little bit confuzzled by that one.
Yeah, I was a little bit concerned, thinking, hold on, is there some techless errors going on? But no, okay, this makes a lot more sense now. So, yeah, that's going to be a Trinity Nova onto the Eevee, taking a very quick knockout, attaching 3 more energies to the Arceus V. And now Robin has to try and find a way to come back here.
But there go down the Vs from the V-Search, from that helpful little Eevee.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're spinning back the other way.
It's like a disco in here.
Yeah, it is a little bit. Maybe it might be easier to like swap the player cams over. We'll have to see about that. So, yeah, so both of the Arceus Vs going down, like I said, the ones that have gotten off the V-Search. There's a Melanie. So, again, very solid supporters. It's been seen consistent play basically ever since it came out. Just the ability to both attach energy as well as to draw more cards. It's always going to be like a strong combo. We saw it with like the Welder card back not too long ago, where you can attach fire energies to hand and draw cards. Just drawing cards wins games, and attaching extra energy it wins games. So doing both at the same time is going to win you even more games, of course. Yeah,
it's absolutely bonkers, and it's nice to see that Water gets that slight advantage because Raihan can be used with any deck, but you have to have the knockout first, whereas Melanie just requires that 1 energy and discard, so you don't need to rely on your opponent taking prize cards.
Yes, absolutely. So there goes another deck search from Robin. So he's going for another Minccino there. Of course, he wants to get his Cinccino engine rolling and can make consistent use of that make-do ability just to draw lots of cards. Now, I'd like to take a little bit of time to talk about sort of this concept, because I think what Robin's trying to do here is kind of build a variant of this Arceus deck that has a kind of similar sort of power to get what it wants, just using a different kind of, like a draw engine rather than a search engine. Now, of course, searching for what you need is always generally speaking, going to be more consistent than drawing cards and hoping you get what you need. But the big difference with this engine is that it's not vulnerable to a card which has recently become very popular and which Robin himself plays, of course, that Jolteon that negates the abilities of water Pokemon.
Absolutely. So it just gives you that cutting edge. And another choice might have been B-Barrel, but Robin's hand is a large hand deck. You're not thinning enough for it to be worth it. So it's a much better idea to be using a double Cinccino line than trying to lower your hand count every single turn, when actually that's not what his deck is built to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of in the same way that, you know, the Zorok GX engine back in the day was very strong because of like the way it worked. The fact that you're discarding one card from hand to draw two, you might think, oh, you have to discard cards constantly. That's really not that great. But no, it's actually really strong because it means you can discard cards that aren't that useful, and then in the later stages of the game, say if you get disrupted with a Mani or something, you're more likely to be able to like draw out of it and actually find the cards you need to close the game. So it's actually a really, really strong engine.
When you're playing things like Melanie as well, it's not too much of a concern.
No, that true. Yeah, you can get the water engine and discard power. Actually, at that point, it's just a combo enabler.
Exactly. And so actually, with a lot of these things, it can be quite good. They're also running the PAL pad, so discarding that or using that Melanie early on and then bringing it back can be a possibility. Again, Cinccino helping to get some extra water energy in the discard pile if nothing's been KO'd. Otherwise, it's quite difficult to get energy in the discard pile without a harsh manual retreat.
Yeah, exactly. So, Robin's engine, obviously, it's an engine that makes a lot of sense. I think it's like very functional and a very clever pick for how the meta game has evolved over the recent few tournaments. So, and I mean, in theory, it should give him the edge over Stéphane, right? Because Stéphane is just playing this Intellion engine, not really much to back it up. So if you can get that EV online with the memory capsule and evolved into Jolteon, but Stéphane spotted that straight away, bosses orders on the EV, and Robin just scoops the game.
Not worth carrying on. Better to make sure that we're going to go to 3 games.
Yeah. And this is a big part of the skill of top players, right? We see it time and time again. They have the ability to like foresee a few turns in advance and know, okay, if this happens, I know that the rest of this game is going nowhere for me, so I'm going to concede now. And like you just said, save that time to make sure that we can see a full 3 games through and that it ends in a tie rather than a loss or rather make sure it doesn't end in a tie and it ends up being either a loss or a win.
Especially during round 1 of a tournament, these guys aren't going to know a lot about each other's deck lists, so giving in the game early gives your opponent less knowledge about what could happen in the second game because they don't know every single card in your deck. We didn't see that PAL pad come out. I don't think we saw the big charm. So there's lots of little one-offs here that could have turned the tides that you're hoping your opponent doesn't know about. And so having that secret knowledge is a valuable, valuable game in the first round. By sort of halfway through the day, everyone starts to clock on to what the big players are playing and what their spicy cards are that are getting them the wins. But at this stage, it's anybody's game.
Yeah, and that absolutely is how it sort of pans out. Sort of the more knowledge you can withhold from your opponent, usually the better. Now, here we go. Going into game 2, we see the prizes for Robin don't look too bad. Like, a couple of search, like he has got 3 of the search cards prize. That's not ideal, but it's also not the end of the world. There's none of his like key techs or one of the prize, so I think he won't mind that too much.
No, he's running plenty of Mani as well, so I don't think that's really too much of a problem. So
yeah, he's playing 4, so yeah.
So it should not be too much of a dramatic issue. Lack of ball search at the beginning isn't fantastic. But again, they're running a draw engine, so if they manage to get the Cinccino out early, it doesn't really matter that much.
Now let's see for Stéphane here with prize. Oh, he's got one of his 2 cross switches prize, and it's a little bit worse there, I would say. Yeah, that's an interesting thing about Stéphane's list. He's actually playing sort of just 2 copies of cross switch and not the full 4. So maybe just trying to get a sneaky, 2 cross switches in hand to close out a game, having played another supporter kind of deal, which I can totally see. It's a very interesting little tech.
Absolutely, and with the Drizzle engine, it's not an impossibility. If they're in deck, you can. The unfortunate thing in this situation is that not only is one of their cross switches prized, but also their shady dealings in Teleon.
Oh, that is true. And is he only running 1 copy from
I believe so.
Yes, he is. So that's actually a big deal.
They cannot, without multiple Drizzles played in 1 turn, secure both cross switches, even if it is taken as an early prize.
Yeah, okay.
So there's a little bit of a scarier situation there. And if they do take the cross switcher, don't manage to get the other one in time, then a harsh Mani from Robin could see that back in the deck.
Yeah, no question. So he'll be wanting to rip both of those out of the prizes as soon as possible. Meanwhile, just starting off here, as I said, Robin going first, already off to about a million times better a start than in the last game. Got the Arceus down with an energy, 1 Cinccino down, and an EV. Happy days.
That scoop looks like it was the right call because it certainly brought them some first turn luck.
Yes. And meanwhile, Stéphane also off to a not bad start himself.
The Dunsparce is unfortunate.
Yeah, not really what you want in this matchup. Although I do believe obviously he'll be playing the full complement of Scoop Up Net, so he could just like pick that up at a later time whenever it's convenient. But of course, he'd rather use that Scoop Up Net on a Drizzile or Inteleon, so it's swings and roundabouts, I guess. Now, there's a pass to the peak down, and just a pass. So yeah, not an insane start, but not a terrible one either. He's got like he's got one Arceus down, got one Sobble down. He's got stuff to work with now. Let's see how Robin plays out his turn 2. So there's a Gicino going down, so he's got access to one Make Do, and discards a big Charm off of that to draw 2 cards. Finds a double Turbo Energy, and well, it looks like there's a Quick Ball in hand, but I don't know if there's so much of a way for him to progress his hand further, actually. I'm not seeing much to work with. Is that that's like, I can see like a full art supporter in his hand, but I don't know. What is that? Oh, supporter's orders.
Oh.
So are we going to see the Power Edge, I believe it's called? Just attack. Just a straight 100 minus 20, 80 damage knocks out the Sobble. So now Robin is actually the one. Well, I don't say one dead drawing. He was the one dead drawing last time as well. But looks like aside from his solid star, he doesn't actually have a crazy amount to work with.
Interestingly, Stéphane has also taken complete control of the Stadium War in this game.
Yes.
Robin does not run anything but 4 Paths to the Peak. Stéphane runs Collapse Stadium.
Oh, okay.
So they have complete control over when they use their V-Star ability, but Robin is going to have to wait for that Collapse Stadium to be able to use theirs, if at all, this game.
Oh, wow, okay. So, yeah, obviously Robin going for this 4 Path to Peak strategy, knowing that it's such a strong card, but of course, if you're hit with it first before you can do your Star Birth, then what do? That's rough. That's really rough. Although it looks like Robin was able to get that his one prize Marnie out of the prizes, so you can use that maybe next turn to draw some more cards. And yeah, Stéphane also does not have a whole lot going here, so a bit of a slow start for both of these players, it looks like.
Interestingly, I think Robin does have the advantage right now because they do have an attacker that's working. They should be able to take a knockout this turn if they choose, and that's already 2 prize cards up. Unlike Stéphane, who should be able to get an Arceus set up next turn, providing they have a decent hand, but not having the Sobble last turn.
Yeah, it kind of really put back Stéphane a turn, and you can see what he was able to do with attach and pass. And yeah, actually, sorry, it's a little bit more than I thought. So Power Edge is not 100, it's 130. So it's for 3 colors, that's not bad, right? I can like see you through. You can get 2-shot Vs with that. It's,
absolutely. Yeah. It's not the worst. And it will definitely comfortably take out most basics that aren't Vs.
Yeah, so like this Dunsparce will be going down, I imagine.
Yeah.
And yeah, there goes the Memory Capsule onto the Eevee, a Water Energy onto the bench Arceus V, and yeah, there's the Marnie. So Stéphane going to be grateful to see that, I'm sure.
We love to see a Marnie with no hand.
Yes. But it is, like you said, though, Robin is definitely much in the driving seat here. Although, because like you said, although both players have slow starts, Robin has something that's doing damage, and that's, if both players are slow, that's kind of all that really matters. Interestingly,
though, Robin just drew their Pump Kaboo.
Oh, okay. So that is his one out to potentially getting rid of like an opposing annoying stadium. So
they don't seem to have the V-Star in hand right now, though. So that Pump Kaboo isn't very useful yet. But that is their, like you say, their one out. And there goes little Dunsparce from the start of the game. No more Scoop Up Net for you.
No. But very importantly, Robin was able to find that Jolteon after attaching the Memory Capsule. So that's now set back Stéphane again, because it means that all those shady dealings on the Drizziles completely shut off.
It is definitely looking like Robin's game so far. Can Stéphane bring it back?
Yeah, I mean, who needs the V-Star, right? You can just put down a Jolteon and just attack with the Arceus V, just Power Edge your way to the win.
Indeed. If you set your opponent back enough with what they're able to do with their deck, there's absolutely no reason you can't sit around with an Arceus V. The V-Star isn't necessary. It's helpful, and especially with the absolutely cracked ability, we would like to see that get kicked off, because we haven't seen a single Star Birth in these 2 games yet.
True, actually, yeah. Oh, no, I think maybe Stéphane might have done one in the last game, actually.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, I think so.
There was one.
Yeah, but even so.
It's interesting not to have seen too many from 2 very strong Arceus decks, clearly trying to prevent each other from doing their thing.
Yeah, so there goes a Professor's Research from Stéphane, just sort of throwing away the rest of the hand, drawing 7 cards. We do see so it looks like a couple of Water Engines in hand, field full of Arceus right now, just knowing that, that Inteleon engine isn't going to be doing as much for him, so may as well just flood the field of attackers, I guess. Although I don't see any double turbo energies. So, yeah, it looks like just going to be a capture energy. Of course, that lets you, when attached to a Pokemon, lets you search your deck for a basic and put it straight onto the bench. Looks like there's going to be going for, just another Sobble. Now, something that we were talking about actually just before the tournament, I remember, is the fact that because obviously this Jolteon that shuts off the abilities of water Pokemon is going to be more prevalent, would be whether more players would be playing Tool Scrapper in their deck lists. Now, I'm not sure, is Stéphane playing it in his list? Because I wasn't sure if I saw it or not. If not, he's going to run into a spot bother. Okay, he is playing one copy of it, so yeah, finding it is going to be vital for him sort of later on. And we do see him just going for the Trinity Charge there with the Arceus V and loading up both of his Arceus Vs with some energy. So with that, sorry, go on.
Oh, no, don't worry. No, the interesting thing that I was just thinking is that actually, obviously, the Jolteon itself preventing you from searching for that Tool Scrapper with Drizzile.
Yes.
It could be its own demise, but if they can hit a Starburst, then they've got it.
Yeah, and like you were saying as well, Stéphane does have the ability with as long as he finds the Collapse Stadium, he can shut off his own path to the peak and then use the Starburst to find that Tool Scrapper, and that's going to be pretty vital. But Stéphane, clearly with his deck building knowledge, knowing that yes, Jolteon is a threat, so including at least one Tool Scrapper is very important if I want to make sure that I have a chance against Jolteon decks. And it isn't prized, thankfully, so he knows he has access to it at some point as long as he can draw into it.
Robin's now filled their bench. That Pumpkaboo is certainly not going down. They have reserved themselves to no Starburst unless Stéphane says so.
Yes, and maybe just kind of thinking, look, I don't necessarily need Starburst right now. I'm kind of pretty happy with where I am, as not sure what's going on with the overlay there. But, am I seeing double? Okay, there we go. It's I think it's because Stéphane's name was a little bit cut off there, so we just to make sure that was all nice and fixed. And oh my god, those are some very shiny Arceus V-Stars hitting the field on Robin's side. My goodness.
They really match the Jolteons, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Looking great with those character arts.
Yes, and the golden Arceus V-Stars as well. So it's going to be, this is going to be another Trinity Nova from Robin, the first one of this game at least, doing a solid 180 damage after the reduction from the double turbo, and then a couple of water energies going onto the bench Arceus V-Star, so that one's ready to attack as well.
There are lots of Arceus with lots of energy, all water on both fields. It's crumbs. These benches are looking very well set up. It's just whether Stéphane's going to be able to get out of this position into a position where they can attack, and I believe that's a no.
No, that's a no. So yeah, Stéphane, again, with that knowledge, knowing exactly where this game is going to go, does concede, and we are on to game 3. Wow. It's funny because something else we were talking about before was how we were expecting so many of the games today to go to time, given how long games of Arceus tend to take. And I think the fact that both these players are skilled enough to be aware of that factor and know to concede early enough, it's really, I think this is kind of why you end up seeing players like this doing so well and going to the top tables, because they know how to concede at the right time to save that time to make sure they can actually go through and get the wins rather than just keep tying their games.
With lots of engines like Drizzile and Arceus itself, with so much deck search going on in format at the moment, it can be really tough to make 3 games within 50 minutes. So this is a very high skill level factor that you see a lot in these sorts of tournaments, where knowing when to scoop a game is incredibly important.
Yeah, it really, really is. And it's a testament to both these players' skill levels that they are able to recognize that. And because it's kind of unavoidable, right? I mean, because these engines, well, at least with Inteleon, less with Chinchina, but these engines do a lot of searching rather than drawings. If you think about the amount of seconds it takes, just, pick up the deck, look through it, get what you want, then you play like another one to Shady Dealings again. And there are some tricks that players will use to save some time. So they might just, instead of immediately shuffling the deck, if they, Shady Dealings for a level ball, they might just say, oh, I'm going back in, put the deck down, play the level ball straight away and save time that way. And it's very important to do that because, all of these little time-saving tricks all add up into being able to actually finish a full series in 50 minutes rather than not.
Absolutely, and with a fantastic set of games like this, we do want to see all 3 games through to the end if we can.
Of course, absolutely. We're talking about literally 2 of the best players in the world facing off, and we want to see like a complete series play out. So,
and again, for them to be matched in round 1 is terrifying, quite frankly, because you'd normally see these guys on top tables near the end of the day, and it would be very lovely to see that even so.
This game right here, this could be the finals, and you wouldn't bat an eyelid.
Absolutely. Oh, Collapse Stadium straight away in those prizes. That's going to be an early search to figure that one out. They will not be able to take the lead on the on the control of the stadium state of this game. Whereas as long as Robin doesn't prize their Pumpkaboo, they could have a little bit more control over the stadiums this game.
Yeah, and once again, prizing one of those 2 cross switches, so hopefully able to find that early. Dunsparce, you'll be happy to see that in the prizes.
Yes, definitely. Dunsparce, we don't need you in the deck today. Sorry, little buddy. Yep. You will be used against fighting matchups only today.
Yes, so not quite for this round. But yeah, that Collapse Stadium and the 1 cross switch are the 2 key prizes there for Stéphane. Now let's see what Robin has prized.
I love to see little Pokemon that we don't get to use a lot in decks, like a lot of people's favorites, like Dunsparce. He doesn't get a lot of time in the spotlight, so it's lovely to see just a one-off little Pokemon that people like in a deck that is really a fan favorite across the board.
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to go way back, the last time we had a Dunsparce that was this playable was back in like 2003-04 with the Strike and Run Dunsparce, which let you search your deck for free Pokemon, put them onto the bench, and then you could switch into one of them. It
was really fantastic, and it's lovely to see these little tech Pokemon coming back like Pumpkaboo and Dunsparce. It's lovely to see some little fan favorites in the decks, even as one-offs.
Yes. Now, I'm not quite sure. It looks like Robin now has got a basic, is kind of deciding what to start with, and then we will see the prizes get put down. Now, there we go. Oh no!
Goodness, this could be interesting.
Literally, the first prize goes down, and that's the Pumpkaboo there. Oh, that's not going to be a good time if a Path to the Peak goes down early enough. Well,
hopefully both of them do some thorough deck searching and realize I'm not going to have control over this stadium, this game, and we'll see how it pans out. But it's certainly going to be interesting. We can see from the prizes alone.
Yes. So Stéphane, of course, choosing to go first, start things off by firing off a level ball and grabs a Sobble. But like you just said, going to search through the deck and just make sure that he's fully aware of what's available and what's not. And we'll be recognizing that the Collapse Stadium and one of the cross switches are in the prizes. And I think just comparing the deck with the hand just to kind of take a full count of what's available and what's not.
Absolutely. So although he has the Inteleon this time, one of the cross switches still being in there isn't ideal.
Yeah. So they're done with that first deck search. It is a fine balance between kind of making sure that you know what's prized and the vital pieces, but also make sure that you don't take so much time searching that, again, you sort of waste enough time to the point where you don't end up being able to see a full game out. I think that's a fine balance to strike, but I think Stéphane just sort of struck it pretty well there. He took his time, he looked through stuff, but he didn't take so long doing it that he ended up, sort of spending too long on it. And again, a pretty decent start. 2 Arceus down, Energy down, 1 Sobble. I think he'll be happy with that.
I think it looks like Robin's got a fair few Arceus in hand as well. So looks like we're both going to be starting out with a nice, ideal bench. Yes,
it does seem that way. One Water Energy going on to the Chinchino as well. I believe that's the one with Call for Family.
It is, yeah.
Yes, so really solid to be able to get a couple more basics down onto the field. So I imagine we're probably grabbing a couple more Minchinos to, of course, evolve into Chinchino and do all the make-dos.
Absolutely. And the power of the deck search, the first deck search of any game, is so crucial and definitely a skill that these players have owned for many tournaments and years, and it's certainly a skill that is underestimated in IRL play. A lot of people during the last couple of years have been playing online for a long time, and having that practice of seeing what's in your deck when it's not in order is a real skill. It takes time and practice, and these guys are clearly pros.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? When you're playing online on P2CG or P2CG Live, the multiples of cards are stacked together for you, so it's a lot easier to do the counts and see what's prized or not. But of course, when you're playing in real life, that's not how the deck works.
Absolutely.
Everything is all fully shuffled, so you kind of have to be very meticulous and look through and sort of recognize, okay, what I'm actually missing here. Okay, I see one of this, I see another one of this, so that's 2. And to be able to do that quickly enough so that you could not, spending too much time doing it, but also thoroughly enough so that you recognize what's there. Yeah, that's a skill that takes a lot of practice to hone, like you said.
It does. It's interesting. They've got one of their EVs out. The other one's in the prizes. We do have a 2-2 EV line from Robin.
Ooh.
So if Stéphane manages to knock out this Eevee, or when it becomes a Jolteon with a boss, they won't be able to use the cross switcher, then that could be that shut down pretty early if Robin doesn't see that second Eevee out the prizes early enough.
Well, here's the thing. Because Robin wasn't able to find a path to the peak, I think Stéphane basically has it guaranteed now. Stéphane could literally just flip that V-Star marker, Starburst for a boss's orders and a double turbo, and he has it.
And that Eevee could be out of here. So they could have a nice, clear way to have their Drizzile engine on for the rest of the foreseeable future.
And Stéphane will recognise how important that is, right? Because you shut off this engine and you essentially shut off Robin's way of making your deck not as good. So
yeah, and arguably the Drizzile engine is more consistent in that you can go in for exactly what you want. You're not relying on that
100%. And looks like Stéphane recognising that. I think I see it. Yeah, double turbo plus boss's orders. It's there.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Stéphane doesn't know that other Eevee is in the prizes, so possibly doesn't realise the weight of this decision.
Yeah, 1000%. I mean, it's still worth it, right? Even if you stop it being shut off for a turn, that still buys you more time to do another shady dealings with the Drizzile or even go up to Inteleon. But like you just said, it's even stronger because of the fact that the second one is in the prizes. So it's not just shutting off for a turn; it's kind of shutting off until Robin rips that second Eevee out.
Really interesting game already because you can see the tides turning with each turn.
So Stéphane grabbing a level ball off of the Drizzile shady dealings and using that to get another sub ball just to set up that chain of evolutions. Yep, boss's orders on the Eevee. Pass to the peak goes down as well.
Perfect.
Super, super strong. He's used his V-Star power. He doesn't care about V-Star powers anymore. And or rather doesn't care about abilities anymore, and then knockout with the Trinity Nova. Super strong start from Stéphane.
Stéphane is in such a good position considering Robin's prizes, and they know that.
Yeah, and especially considering, like we sort of mentioned earlier, that Pumpkaboo's in the prizes, so Robin has literally no out to this path to the peak.
Nope, that path to the peak is there unless Stéphane says, you know what, actually, collapse time. But that collapse stadium is not only in prizes, but is no way being played.
No way at all, so...
No Starbirth for Robin this game.
Yeah, so it looks like Robin's going to have to rely on some... He's going to have to make do with Chinchilla. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
It's a fantastic ability name. It's lovely when that happens. And I mean, unless that Pumpkaboo happens to be the first prize card Robin draws.
Yeah. But even then, it won't be useful for this turn.
No, not at all. Robin's bench does get quite full with this deck as well.
It is,
so
it's true.
Depending on when that Eevee might come out, it might be that it's poorly timed regardless.
Yeah. So there is the first make do. Just kind of quick ball drawing 2 cards, drawing another Chinchino. That's not bad at all.
We love to combo a make do into a make do. It was very much like the classic acro bike into an acro bike.
Yes. Or I guess soon there'll be trekking shoes into trekking shoes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Evolution incense going down as well for Robin. Finds the Arceus V-Star. Of course, even if you can't use the power, you still want to use the attack, right? So
absolutely, it's a very strong attack regardless. 200 damage is very solid, especially in the mirror where Arceus V only has 200 HP.
Yeah.
So it's not... is it 210?
Yeah, it's 220.
Oh, it's 220. But with a belt, it is a lot of fixes in this format. We've just got to remember that double turbo does that -20. Yeah. There's lots of ups and downs with damage.
That's kind of that's why a lot of Arceus lists end up including in the Galarian Zigzagoon, right? Because with that, even if you have a double turbo attached, with a choice belt and a Galarian Zigzagoon V, you can KO an opposing Arceus V. That's the kind of wombo combo you could do.
Absolutely, and with most running scoop up net regardless, the Zigzagoon doesn't become a little liability either.
No, absolutely. If anything, you can reuse it to get more pings down.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Water energy going down onto the Arceus V, so that kind of concedes that there isn't going to be an attack this turn, which is not ideal, but I guess Robin recognizing that it's very unlikely that, in fact, it might even be impossible for, I think he would have needed to hit like Melanie plus double turbo to get an attack this turn, so that wasn't going to happen.
It was going to be very difficult, but 2 Chinchino setup doesn't make this a lost cause.
No, it doesn't. It's very true. Level ball goes down again. Probably going to be finding another Minccino. I do believe he plays a free line, if I recall. Just looking at the deck list.
They do.
Yes, so...
But they're struggling to find it because it's in the prizes.
So it is, yeah. Well, that's not ideal.
No, they can take the Chinchino because, thankfully, it's got less than 90 HP, or 90 HP or less, which is fantastic for any level ball search where you can get the evolution as well in the level ball is beautiful.
Although, actually, now that I think about it, with the with the one Cinccino, the one EV, and the Pump Cooper prize, I think that was literally the last level ball target in the deck.
Yes, yes, it is. We know that.
and now Robin knows that too, and I'm sure Stéphane seeing the Cinccino grab is probably, at least internally, raising an eyebrow and wondering, okay, something's going on here.
I might have this in the bag, yeah.
Yeah, so Stéphane cuts the deck, and now Robin has to think about how best to progress. I mean, there's already been an end attachment done, so the real only decision here is like what to retreat into, and I think this is the best call here, just retreating into the Arceus V and then just passing it over.
Yeah, it's going to take some damage modifiers for a knockout on that Arceus V anyway, so it's relatively safe as far as the current board state looks.
Yeah. And we can see here as well, just like the strength and with Stéphane just being able to fully access that Shady Dealings engine, Drizzle going down, able to search the deck for another trainer, and this is exactly, Robin literally built his deck to stop Stéphane doing this, but Stéphane's doing it anyway. So Robin is not going to be very happy about that.
No, not at all, sadly. And they do run one choice belt, so they can bring the damage back up again from that double turbo energy. And then running the Inteleon as well, that can do an extra 20 damage. There's a possibility of a knockout here.
Another alternative could be to just grab the choice belt, evolve the bench Arceus V into an Arceus V star, and do Trinity Nova, then it would be 230. That would do the trick as well. Of
course, yes. No minus damage, thanks to the 3 water energy.
Yeah, in fact, there's the choice belt already. Going onto the active, though, so yeah, I think you're right. There's going to be a search for the quick shooting Inteleon, of course, with that ability that lets you put 20 damage on any one of your opponent's Pokemon. Super, super strong ability.
Especially in a format where we're... Oh, there it is. They didn't even have an extra search.
Oh, wait. No, did he? Oh, yeah, he did find it. Yeah.
And a Sobble.
Yes. I got confused. I saw the Sobble. I thought, did I miss it? But
wow, no. Beautiful off that, Marnie. You love to see it.
Yes.
I mean, even if they'd have got the other Inteleon, if they had enough evolution incense, then you theoretically could have got it for next time.
Yeah, it would have been for next time. So of course that Drizzle only came down this turn.
Yeah.
But there we go. Quick shooting, exactly what Stéphane wanted. 20 onto the Arceus V and then the Trinity Nova, and Stéphane is in an absolute commanding lead in this game.
100%. Robin might be able to bounce back. They play Raihan, and a double turbo would certainly do them well here. But their hand is looking a little sparse for resources that are useful to them right now.
Yeah, and this kind of like goes to show something as well, which has been true oftentimes in the history of Pokemon TCG. You can literally build your deck to be favored in this kind of like mirror-esque scenario. But again, Robin just acknowledges that it's over and concedes, and Stéphane will be taking the victory here in round 1 of the Bremen TCG Regional Championships.
That was such a fantastic matchup. they both have played exceptionally, and those decks are clearly built to go toe-to-toe like this.
Yeah.
There was no clear just win-win. It was a full 3 games of each deck trying to say, no, don't do that.
And then, you know, just, again, the fact that Robin essentially built his list to kind of counter the pseudo-mirror in his Arcanteleon, and yet, with the way it played out, Stéphane is still able to take a commanding win just by virtue of how the matchup played out and knowing how to stop Robin's strategy from, you know, playing out to stop Stéphane from doing what he wanted to do. So yeah, absolutely solid play from the top of the world players. And yeah, that was if the rest of the matches there are anywhere an iota as good as that one, I'm very, very excited to see what the rest of the day brings.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for the rest of the games today if they play out like that. And isn't it interesting when a deck does come up against exactly what it's built to play against, and then seeing that game through and seeing those prize cards is heart-wrenching.
Yeah, that was, I think, the big deciding factor in Game 3. I think if Robin could have done, after that first call for family, he probably would have gone for double Eevee because he knows how vital it is to get it out, but he didn't have the choice. One was prize, and sort of Stéphane capitalizing on that, knowing, right, I'm going to pick this off right now. I've got the Starbirth, and able to pick it off with the boss's orders, Trinity Nova, and that the game just kind of sort of snowballed away from Robin at that point.
Absolutely. So unfortunately, it didn't quite go the way they wanted with using that clever Jolteon and the memory capsule combination. didn't quite pay off this time, but I'm certain it will have in other games today.
Yeah, well, I mean, we did see it pay off in the game that Robin won, right? It paid off in that game too. We saw that, he was able to set it up, and then Stéphane was basically left with nothing to do and had to just concede.
That Drizzle engine was just paralyzed. There was absolutely nothing they could do, and without just relying on a top deck at that point, really is damning.
Yeah, so that was indeed round one. Given how that went, like we were saying, I can't even think about what the rest of the tournament will bring. I know that for a fact that Robin isn't the only one playing this kind of newish variant of Arceus. I think a lot of Robin's teammates might also be on this Arceus Cinccino list. So although Robin took the loss here, I think that if the metagame plays out the way we might expect it to, I don't think this is the last we're going to see of this deck.
No, certainly not. It's a very new card to high-level competitive play, but since that Jolteon even came out, before the character rare was even a thing, a lot of people were considering using it. Nobody quite figured out that winning list yet, but maybe we will see it this weekend.
If anything, I'm surprised it's taking this long, because I guess I've been surprised in two senses, because it took a while for the Inteleon engine to sort of pick up as a whole. I think the first time it really picked up was when the quick shooting Inteleon came out, and then people realized, oh, I can play both of these together. But then people just realized, oh, that engine is strong just by itself, right? Being able to search any trainer I want is pretty darn good.
Again, I think the increase in popularity of online play during that period helped the Drizzile engine to gain momentum. And then bringing back in-person organized play, we see the absolute extent of that and how popular it is and how useful it is. Because consistency is key with these sorts of decks.
Consistency is king. It's been said time and time again, that's with consistency. You can have the most teched out deck list in the world, and you can think, all right, I have literally this for every single matchup that I want to face against. But if you can't find those techs at the right times for each matchup, then what are you doing? Yeah,
you can do as much damage in the world as you'd like, but if you can't get the right things into play at the right time, then it's still possibly a lost game.
Yes. So I do believe now we are ready to throw over to an interview with our round one winner, so with Stéphane and Connor. So Connor, over to you.
And welcome to our players interview after round one. I'm Connor, joined by our winner from last week and from round one, Stéphane. How are you doing?
Hi, well, pretty good, when you start round one against Robin Schulz, not anyone, right? And you win, it feels pretty good. I feel okay, if I can beat him, I can probably beat most people here. Yeah. So that gives me confidence, at least.
Well, that was it, right? So just before the pairings, you came straight, you saw your pairing and came over. It's I guess we're on the stream, right? This is how we're going to get going. And it's a nice way, it not only confidence booster, but it keeps the win streak going, right? From last week, keep that momentum going forward.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, it's not the same deck as last week, as you probably noticed. So it's not exactly the same, but yeah, true. A loss feels bad at any time anyway. I guess it's better to lose in round one than in top 8 or whatever. Sure, but sure. Exactly. I feel momentum going, as you say.
Well, exactly. I wouldn't know what it's like to lose in top 8. I never make it that far. But no, talk us through that change in deck, because winning last week, people would assume you're going to take that deck forward. It's running hot. It's a completely different deck. What was the thought process?
Yeah, well, the thought process is that basically the deck was very good, but the element of surprise helped a little bit, Sure. Some opponents didn't even know what I was playing after round one, after game one, I mean. So it helped. The deck is still good anyway, but it's a bit worse when people know and expect it. And I was afraid that Arceus players would adapt, would play a bit better. I was also afraid of Jolteon, which it seems like I was right. But yeah, I did win a little, but we shouldn't forget that I got pretty lucky in the finals, but I probably should have or almost lost the finals. So yeah, Jolteon was definitely good. It wouldn't have surprised me if people were playing more of it today. And so I wanted something who had some deck which had more answers, which was more universal, who could also beat the deck I was playing. So yeah, in the end I was Arceus, probably a safe play. I didn't practice that much with it, recently, but I did practice a lot of it at the start of the format. So yeah.
I guess that's the thing. It was a quick turnaround for us, right? It was 1 week, so it's what changes do we make in a week? We had the US events last week too, so it became kind of complicated of going, what format are we expecting? And I think the Jolteon thing, having a quick look around, there's a lot more Jolteon this week after seeing how well it did last week, right? So makes sense changing the deck. Yeah. So going throughout the day, is there any matchups you're worried about, like that might have come back into the format since last week?
Well, like the big difference is that when I was playing the liminal deck like Hoopa, Moltres, Inteleon, I was very confident against Mew VMAX, right? And now versus Inteleon, I can definitely beat it, but it's not like a very favorable matchup. It's like 50-50 depending on who goes first, mostly. Maybe slightly, well, I don't know, it depends on the list, but yeah. So basically, I'm a bit less confident like this. I assumed, I was like, Mew was not that popular. People have been playing Mew less and less, so it's a risk that it's okay to take, I think. That said, Mew could also come back because, for example, Ice Rider made top 8, right? And he made top 8 because he didn't hit any Mew VMAX, because Mew is a bad matchup for that deck. And similarly, the RCS Gyarados went to the finals actually didn't play against any Mew either. So I don't know how the matchup is exactly, but I assume that it's not that easy. So I felt like we could have Mew and coming back to beat Jolteon in general, because Mew doesn't care about Jolteon, exactly. Right? So yeah, maybe there would be more Mew, and that's not that good for me. So that's a bit my worry. But otherwise, I think the deck is like it's Arceus Inteleon, right? It's 50-50 against everything, or it's close.
50-50 against everything, and then you just exploit player skill as the differentiator, which in your case works. For me, it's a terrible idea. No, and I think that's one of the big changes we've seen is that like we play less Mew in Europe than they do maybe in the States. Maybe it's coming back, and that will probably shape up over the course of the weekend. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll go back to our casters now, and we'll let you crack on, get ready for the rest of the day. Best of luck for the rest of the tournament.
Thank you very much.